Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to Drak Reviews, where I'm taking on a game that, honestly, a lot of people have asked if I have regrets in the way that I'm doing things right now, and yes, I do. I really wish that I was able to get this review out when it was essential, because this game absolutely deserved it. So let's go ahead and dive into my review for Rime. I believe that's how you say it. By developers Tequila Works, Tantalus Media, as well as the designer Kevin Sarda Perez. Going right into the story. So Rime is one of those games, I want to say like the same model as if people played Journey, or another game that just got suggested to me was Never Alone, The Unfinished Swan, stuff like that, where it's more, you go through the story and it's more of an artistic experience than it is a gaming experience. Like if you're expecting this to be Mario, it is not. It starts with a little boy washing up ashore on a deserted island with a lot of monuments and structures on it, and the boy basically exploring the island, as well as learning kind of the history of the island, as well as maybe learning, you as the player learning what actually happened to the boy. And through that, you have to go through various parts of the island, actually exploring aspects of the human psyche, as well as I have no problem spoiling this, the 5 steps of grief. Because when you get deep enough into this game, you actually ultimately realize, I have no problem spoiling it right now, that the boy basically died at sea, and he was in a boat with his father, and unfortunately he was claimed on a stormy night. And so at that point, you play the boy as he realizes that, yes, he is in fact dead, and you go through the 5 steps of grief with the boy. And so it's actually a very heartfelt and very touching experience to be able to go through. I have no problem giving absolute best marks for Rime, because it was an emotional journey to be able to go through, being I've gone through grief myself a number of times, as well as you really do get attached as you go through the game to the boy, and you want to be able to see him accomplish his goals, especially when he has insurmountable odds ahead of him. Moving on into visuals, I've seen a lot of people kind of take marks off for the visual aesthetic of Rime. I'm not going to, because I think it works perfectly with the story that's trying to be told. It's a little shaded, yes, and does it look like it could have existed on a previous generation? Probably. I would say there are a lot of scenes that I don't think that would be possible, but this game has been worked on for quite a while, so it wouldn't surprise me if they were hoping to get it out maybe just for a PC release, and then the new consoles happened, and Rime ended up here. So I'm actually... I give it full marks. I did like the visual style of this with the shading, as well as the kind of natural aesthetic that they try to give the little fox companion that follows the little boy around. I like the fact that, you know, as much as I want to make a Pocahontas joke and you paint with all the colors of the wind, it actually worked really, really well. Moving into gameplay, this is an adventure puzzle platformer. That's the best way I know how to explain it, because it is a platform game, but the biggest aspects of it are the adventure that it tries to tell, as well as the puzzles that you have to solve while it's telling the story. So, like, you can go for quite a while on the path, and then eventually you'll get a puzzle that you need to solve that might involve platforming, might not. And so at that point, that's the best way that I know how to describe it, and it plays flawlessly. Like, I didn't have any glitches, I didn't have any issues with it. There were a couple of points where I got frustrated with a puzzle, but the problem is that I completely forgot, like, I could press this button and be able to carry this block around, or maybe I didn't know that I could actually go to this point with the block. A lot of that was my own fault, so I can't necessarily fault stuff on my own end. And again, I gave it full marks on gameplay. For what this guy was trying to accomplish, it plays very fluidly, and he should be very proud of himself. The audio. There isn't too much to go into with voice, because there isn't really a voice. It's actually really brilliantly told through silence. Yes, the boy can yell, and it's actually a gameplay mechanic, but the boy isn't necessarily talking. He isn't telling his story. The story is. Like, the way that you're going through it as the boy, that's how you're finding out. It's not that the boy is doing inner monologues. And I loved how that actually worked. So yeah, he occasionally yells and he occasionally cries, but I'm not going to fault that, because there's not a whole lot of voice work there, and I don't think it was intended to be that way. the biggest part of audio for this is the music, and the score is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I've been looking around for this and I can't seem to find it. So if you know where to find Rime's score, I would be so happy, because even though there's a lot of points where this game left me in tears, the music is also straight uplifting with some of the darker subject matter that it had to take on. And even when it has to go to its absolute lowest low, the music accompanies it very, very well. And I gave high marks for the audio in that regard. And on to replay value and presentation. Now, replay value is where I had to take a little bit off. And the simple reason is being that these kinds of games are meant to be played, at least in my interpretation, once. If you really love them, then you will play them again just to show somebody else. But that's my problem with it, is like a lot of people won't do that. They will do the one-time play, be very happy with what they got out of it, and then move on. I'm different. I would definitely do it differently. I would, I'm already planning on, spoiler alert, I've actually gotten this game twice. I not only got it for Xbox One when I did the review footage, but I also recently got it on Nintendo Switch, because I think it's just that great a game, and a lot more of my friends have Nintendo Switch, and I'd love to let them borrow it. But again, the problem with the replay value is that I honestly believe they play it once and probably not go back to it ever again. And so I did have to take points off with the replay value, but with presentation, does it come together? Absolutely it does. It tells a story that will reduce you to tears, that will make you feel things. It's actually a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned, which is why I have no problem giving Rime a very straight 9.5 out of 10. This game is almost perfect. And in my opinion, as the type of gamer that I am, it is. But as far as replay, the real thing that's holding it down is that it's not replayable. Like, you can go back and replay it, but I don't see a whole lot of people doing that. Let's go on into the next part of it, which is it worth it? Currently, you can get Rime for Xbox One, PlayStation 4. I believe it's also on PC, as well as Nintendo Switch. It just barely came out for or a couple of months ago came out for the Nintendo Switch. Originally, its price was $29.99, but I've actually started to see a lot of retailers holding it for as low as $14.99. And at that point, it is a steal. I would even recommend it at $29.99. I'd recommend this game at $59.99. I really would. It was that beautiful to go through, and this guy deserves a freaking pat on the back, and I kind of wish he had gotten like Indie Game of the Year, but unfortunately, I don't think any of the award ceremonies are going to give it to him. And that's crying shame, because this guy did an amazing job with what he had, and I look forward to seeing what this guy comes up with in the future, if he even decides to do that. So yeah, it's well worth the price. Absolutely. Go out and get this and at least play it once. You will enjoy it. And I have a feeling you might actually want to pick it up again, or pick it up with your kids or with your loved ones. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this review of Rime. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your love and your patience that you're showing me through this review process. And of course, I'll be back next time for the next review.